And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. I am here with the one and only Amy Lee of Evanescence. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, trust me, it's my pleasure having you here. As somebody who has been a fan of yours since way back in the day, 2003 or something like 2002. It's a real joy to be able to talk to you today. And in 2020 of all years, this would be the year that I get to finally interact with you.
Here we are. Something about just the worst times ever is what attracts me as an artist in person, I guess.
Well, okay, that's a fair point, I suppose. That does seem to influence a lot of music and artistic behavior. But we're here to talk to you today. We got lots of stuff I want to talk to you about. But first and foremost, we've been playing a song years lately that I am a big fan of for several reasons. We'll get into that. It's called "Use My Voice." Love this song. First of all, I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
And first of all, I wanted to ask you just real quick with that song, "Use My Voice." It's been like 10 years since we've gotten like an original album from you guys.
Yeah.
And so we're finally getting back to that. We've had 3 singles so far. This is the 3rd one. And the music so far has been awesome. What's been your inspiration up to this point, getting that whole album of original content?
It's a lot. Like you said, we have a lot of time and experience to pull from to put towards this. I'm in a place right now where meaning is at the forefront for me, more than a sound, more than like a sonic space or energy. It's coming from putting the meanings and the lyrics kind of in the front of my mind, and as a big part of the driving force for my need for music right now, which maybe that doesn't sound like a big difference, but as a musician, like, it's fun to just jam, create music because it feels good to your heart and it doesn't have to have words or mean anything. That kind of comes later, and that's sort of my comfort zone in general. But this time there's just so much to say. There's so much happening in our world that feels frustrating, in our country and in the world, and just feeling so many strong feelings of just like an animal in a cage. Things need to come out. And on top of that, over the last decade, as a band and as individual people, we've been through a lot. We've had some serious losses in our band family, and I became a mom. Just a lot of big life perspective change. So I've always said music is my therapy. It's always been true, but I am remembering and living in it in a very real time way right now. I make music every day because it is healing my heart.
That's a beautiful sentiment. I think in a lot of ways that's what music's supposed to do for you. Art in general is supposed to do that for you. You did bring up that you became a mom, which, by the way, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And I have to ask this: are you so glad that you became a mom before 2020 when you've been stuck inside of them all the time?
Maybe this would be a good time, because I feel like that first 6 months or so, you have to hunker down. Sleep hard to come by, and I feel like I hardly left the house in that time just because that's how it had to be.
Yeah.
You might find that a lot of babies were conceived in this time. It's going to be the next boom.
I think you might be right. I'm begging nobody, please, 9 months from now, name your kid Corona.
Oh no,
please.
No, I can't remember.
So you said you've been doing music and whatnot, and that's really been healing your heart. You're making music every day, which is amazing. But like you said, you have all this to pull from. But is there anything else you've been doing during this time to keep yourself busy? I mean, we've all kind of had to find hobbies. Like, I recently learned how to bake bread. My girlfriend started a garden, and so see,
sourdough. Did you make your own starter and everything?
Yeah, it was an effort.
Live.
But let me tell you this: I didn't post everything about making the process because there's a lot of trial and error. So I really just posted when I got it right.
That's funny. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Posting's for just showing only the good side of things and leaving everything else behind. I did some bread baking myself. I got into, I lived in New York for 13 years, and we just moved to Nashville last year. And one of the big things I'm missing is Asian food. I love Japanese food. I love all kinds of Asian food, and it's just different. And especially now, it's not that it isn't here, but I mean, it's not New York, but also especially at the beginning, we don't eat out. We don't eat out at all, but we didn't even order in for months. It was just like, make your own stuff. And that was what I want ramen. Like, how do I make something? I want dumplings. Like, how do I do this? So I totally figured out very well. And also simultaneously, my son got really into the Kung Fu Panda franchise, and we watched all those movies a whole bunch, and those dumplings look so good. So I got into like making the dumpling dough and like did a pretty good job making dumplings. So I did that a little bit, but but also, not to make it all about music, but this has been a really cool time for like collaborations coming up, because so many artists are stuck at home and needing like something creative, needing to connect. And I've gotten to be a part of a bunch of cool collaborations during this time too, not all of which are out yet. So
that was something I was going to bring up, actually, because you have, a laundry list of friends in music and whatnot. And we've heard about a lot of other people that have collaborated on things given the situation we're all in, because people just want to make music. They just want to do something.
Yeah.
And you, with this song specifically, you even had a bit of collaboration, because you had people like Moms, The Pretty Reckless, Lizzie Hale of Hailstorm, Lindsey Sterling, an amazing violinist that if you're not familiar with, I'm telling you right now, look her up.
Yeah.
And all lended voices or something. This song, Dina Jacob, and there's a few other people I know I'm missing, but so many talented women on this song that lend vocals or something in the music or composition. And I was thinking to myself, man, I wonder if she threw the idea out there of doing more stuff with all of them, like things with their band, or working on a song together in some way. So it's nice to hear you say that it's coming, and stuff's coming, and we don't know about
it. Not what you're thinking.
Okay.
But it's funny that it feels so good to do something like that together, and to feel just the power of our unity in our community. Like, being a woman is part of it, but this time, women and men, like, calling for help and relying on each other in times. The song is a really great example of that happening, and it feels so good. I have definitely been in a place in my head before where it's been hard for me to ask anybody to help, and I needed to do it all myself. I needed to prove that I could. I needed to prove that I could write the whole song. I needed to prove that I could do all the engineering for everything up until we got into the studio. Whatever it is, like, I've reached a new place where I really feel centered in understanding like how much energy I have, first of all, and where I want to pour it, and what I know that I'm good at, and what then I can open up and go, hey, I need help. Like, I've gotten to the edge with this, and I need feedback, and I'm not too proud to like say, hey, check this out and tell me what you think. And that spirit has been so fulfilling and so good. And that's also part of the reason for so much more collaboration from me lately. It feels really good to have that input from other artists and friends. So Use My Voice is a great example of that, because I was stuck on writing the song. Like, I had it in the bulk of it kind of for like 2 years, like just slowly building, which is cool, because as everything was happening, a line, oh my God, I'd have a great idea for something to say. And the lyrics were what were driving the song so much, just looking at injustice and feeling like my voice needs to be heard. Our voices need to be heard. Those things are coming out, but then I just didn't know what to do for the chorus. And one of my best friends, Dina from Viridia, lives here in town. And it was at the end of last year. And I was just like, I don't know. I was like, do you want to just come over? I don't know if we're going to write something, or you want to just like hear song. Like, can we just like listen to each other's songs and hang out? And we did. And I wasn't thinking that we were going to work on that one, but I played it for her and she loved it, and instantly like had an instinct about what to do on the part that I was stuck on. And it was this fast process, but letting anybody in to any form of writing for Evanescence is really precious to me and to all of us. So it's a sensitive thing, and it's not that we never do, but never with like a songwriter. It's like, it's a friend, it's somebody who's in the process. It's, the producer. And it was just so beautiful that it came from Dina like that, because it was just purely from her heart and wanting to just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it was this perfect, that's what it was supposed to be. You totally nailed it. Yes. And we just spun around the room together in this room, like walking in a circle, singing that, and like the part, like covering our ear and then like singing it together and be like, okay, wait. Okay. So starting from that, then moving forward into taking it to the next place with the band and us like making it into a song. As it's brewing, like I'm hearing that call and thinking, I want this to be a group. And it felt like the more that I called in for help and the more that I opened my hands up and let myself be open to unity and togetherness and community like that, the better it was. So I thought, why should we just layer like my voice and Jen's voice a bunch of times? We should make this bigger than that. And it was just so humbling and wonderful how easy it was to get everybody to go, yes, I want to do this, and record their voice and send it in or come down to the studio. So I love it. I love it because it makes me feel empowered, but it also part of that empowerment has to do with standing together and being stronger together and being willing to like hold hands with your friends and like go forward as a group, as a team.
I think that's a beautiful way to describe that. And I completely get what you mean when you talk about how it just kind of worked when it was organic, the way she went about how she wanted to be involved and everything. It's always going to feel better than, paying somebody to come help and write something, which people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to feel so much more passionate about it when somebody's close to you, and it's an organic thing.
Wow.
You talked about the song, you talked about needing the feedback, so I have to ask, what's it like knowing the album, I'm assuming, is still due for 2020, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm considering this release, like we're just kind of doing it different.
Right.
So I know it probably feels like old school, just like releasing the singles first, but it's going along. I just kind of want to give each song its moment. It's been really satisfying to have each moment like with the fans, just to focus on one song at a time instead of just like going, here you go, here's the whole album. I hope you like it. And everybody's going to talk about the songs in their own time, and then it's gone. And I mean, it's not gone, but it's right now we can't tour either. So we don't get to hash that back out every night on stage and like pour love into those songs. We only get just that moment of release and then interacting with the song for a while after. Sorry, you can finish your question.
Oh no, well then my question was going to be does that make the online feedback and feedback from your friends even more vital because you can't tour the songs now? At least currently.
I try not to rely too hard on social media feedback.
That's smart.
I know that that's not the whole picture of reality, and I think we all need to keep that in mind. But the responses have been overwhelmingly positive, and it feels really good to go look because I get to feel that and see that. Yeah, it's been really cool to have the time to interact with our fans during the releases like this. Normally, it is in a live setting, which is awesome and visceral, and there's nothing like it. But to have more time to focus on like kind of communicating with them online and everything has been really nice. It's been nice to just pour into that.
When just as I mentioned here, because we're talking about live shows, back in the day, I remember you guys coming here to, I can't remember the location. It was outside in Portsmouth, I think. And I went and saw you guys there with my little cousin. She was dying to go see you, so I was tasked with keeping her safe there.
Okay.
And so I brought her to the show. We're right up front in the pit. And I held her up on my shoulders while you performed, and she was crying while she was watching you. My cousin Ashley, who now lives in Australia because she's a grown-up and married, and I'm old. But it was such an amazing experience. That was actually the first time I got to see you guys do that cover of Thoughtless from Korn.
That was cool.
Which was really cool, right?
Yeah.
And bringing that back to another connection you have to this area, when actually this station specifically, back in 2003, you guys were coming through here, and you were here in the studio, and you did an acoustic version of Bring Me to Life, which like blew up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so it's this cool thing. Yeah, it's this cool thing that we get to point to and say, like, yeah, they did that here.
Yes, yeah, that's cool.
It was really, really cool. So it's just a neat connection you have here with this area when we're talking about touring and not being able to tour.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back again for sure.
Oh, trust me, people are really looking forward to you coming back. I can see in the side here we got people commenting constantly about wanting you to come back.
Oh, cool. We'll do it.
Area. So people are really excited about it. Now I wanted to ask you about this too, because back in the day, even still, I've seen a lot of, we'll say, I don't know if I want to call it Gothic imagery or styling or whatever in all of your art. but it makes me feel like you're a fan of the spooky and the dark, which I think is great because I'm a fan as well. And we're now into spooky season here. It's Halloween is coming.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do for Halloween this year?
I think that we were just talking about this week, so this isn't like an official announcement, but we've been talking about this virtual performance of some kind that we need to do in October. That we've been using that to help encourage people to go vote. Go check your registration, whatever. Go to Headcount. Then you can get access to like a private virtual performance thing. I think we're just going to put it on Halloween because Halloween is such a thing for us. Like normally we're on tour in this part of the year. And when we are lucky enough, which is fairly often, to have a show on Halloween, that's always like a special event, I don't know, whether it's playing a little piece of like the Michael Myers theme or whatever, like, or wearing stupid costumes. Just like, we love Halloween. You grow up and you don't get to celebrate Halloween the same way, as when you were younger. And it's kind of become a thing that is fun when we can tie it to our band. So I'm not saying that I'm going to go in costume on that night. I haven't decided, but I think that's the night that we're going to just do our little virtual thing. That way we can still be together with the fans during that.
Okay. Well, fans, you're listening to her right now. Make sure you keep tabs on what she's doing because you might be busy on Halloween. Tell the kids, sorry, the candy can wait. No,
candy should wait.
the candy realistically probably will wait for a lot of people.
Candy should wait.
Yeah. Until things get back to more of a normal, I think a lot of people have that plan. Speaking of which, so with the world being what it is right now, what is the first thing you're looking forward to doing when the world gets back to normal?
We want to play these songs live, not to make it all about that, but having the delay in that satisfaction is just going to make it that much more urgent. So when things get back to normal, that's going to be our focus. We're making our focus all about the creation of the music now, which is, it's the right thing for this time. There's nothing else to do. And there's plenty of things that can distract me, but
Oh, there's always distractions for it.
But this is that. And then when we can, we're going to be just really chomping at the bit to be able to play these songs live.
Fair enough. That's a solid point. My answer was going to be something along the lines of, go out to eat, maybe hug somebody.
Travel.
Yes.
It's weird to be stuck here when I haven't even been here that long. So it's just kind of like, okay, now we're here at home. All right.
By the way, I'm looking behind you. I just noticed that I'm seeing instruments all over the place. Guitars, the whole 9 yards. Is that all your stuff, or do you have people over jamming still?
This is my stuff, but I have it here so that we can jam. That's my bass. I got that bass this year. I don't really play bass, but I can play bass enough to play bass,
I have the same. Yeah, me too.
But it's good to have the stuff here because if you ever have an idea, you can just get behind the kit or whatever. It's direct. It plugs right into the tools. So
wow. All right.
Yeah.
So you're even more talented than I thought you were. Great. I feel even worse. I wanted to talk to you real quick about, we talked about the other women that have worked with you on the song and everything, and that Taylor Momsen, Lizzie Hale, and Sterling, Tina Jacob. And I wanted to kind of take a real quick trip down memory lane. We talk about how back in 2003, you guys were huge. Bring Me to Life had blown up. You guys were kind of at the forefront of the rock metal world, and it was really cool seeing a female-fronted band there for a change. A lot of people hadn't seen that, or at least not become accustomed to it. And since then, there's been so many bands that have come and gone and are still rocking. We got the Pretty Reckless, Nightwish, Hailstorm, Lacuna Coil, Flyleaf, OTEP. Just to name some, right? And some, if not all of those people. And it just made me wonder, kind of, as you've seen music evolve and all these bands come and go, have there been these female-fronted bands that you kind of almost in your own way looked up to, idolized, really admired?
Oh, yeah. When you're talking about all the people that you just mentioned, that's now. And I definitely take inspiration and feel empowered by their presence in our world. Yeah. So we all are inspired by each other. I feel like every new thing like that is a win. Even there's so many different people that you even didn't mention, like across different genres that aren't
Oh
just
yeah.
hard rock, like all kinds of, those are all awesome things. It's just empowering and encouraging to be like, hell yeah, like, and that's why we end up being friends. Like when you find each other, you know, when you're definitely the minority in your world, it's like, I found one. Yes. Thing that girls do, or that they don't think girls do, that you know that we do. Let's go do it. So that's a thing. But you know, if you're talking about being inspired, the people that inspired me before I got to where I was, there were so many in the 90s. Women in alternative music and the grunge scene and the alternative and just the way that radio was all about embracing the weird and the different and the thing that you don't expect. What was blowing my mind was all the uniqueness, and it didn't. There were so many women. It didn't occur to me that to even think about it. It didn't feel like it was different. Something changed. Because we went from having, I could go down such a long list. You know what I'm talking about? The whole Veruca Salt, Garbage. I mean, even like Loomis and Bjork. There were things about all that rocked too, and it was all over the place. And then just right at the time when we were almost there, like as we were getting ready, like the several years before, like we came out with our album, it really just took a very masculine turn with this. I don't know. It's what's popular in a moment, and it's great. There's time for that. But it suddenly was like, this is a struggle. It's weird. It's not a cool thing that I always have seen, and I think part of it coming from that era in the 90s. Like I've always seen having something that's not what everybody else has as being a bonus. Like that's what makes it cool. It hadn't happened before. Nirvana never would have broken through if somebody wasn't brave enough to go, whoa, that's not like anything I've ever heard before, so I'm going to play it. Not, whoa, that's like nothing I've ever heard before, so I can't play it. I think that's wrong thinking. I think that the thinking to some degree has kind of gotten a little bit more fearful, and maybe part of that's driven by the fact that there's so much less money in the music industry, and the powers that be are worried about help. We have to please everybody at the same time. You can't do that. You have to piss people off in rock music. You do. You have to push the envelope and do something daring to fit into not fitting. Like that's what we're supposed to be. So yeah, like it was an interesting thing. I think the pendulum is swinging in a different way now than it was then. I've seen a lot of change in my time in this, but I don't know. I'm just always going to look at uniqueness and differences as a positive.
Absolutely. I completely agree with this. I do think that kind of has to do with why I think the internet is both a blessing and a curse. I think you could agree with that. Mm-hmm. Social media, particularly a big part of that. But I think it also provides, as you said, sometimes people, you know, in the music industry may not see something and like it because it's so different or they're not used to it or whatever. But the internet has provided people with a way to make themselves heard and found.
That's so true.
Different I mean, we look at somebody who's like one of the biggest stars in the world, Justin Bieber. That guy started on YouTube.
Right. Totally.
You know, and it gives people an outlet to be heard and to have their music found. I mean, I think isn't that how Billie Eilish started? One of her songs was on SoundCloud or something and blew up.
I don't know, but I love it so much. That's my favorite thing of the past year of music.
Billie Eilish?
Yes, because it's totally pure. It's taking risks. It's different. And it's not like it was put together by some machine. It's completely real and heartfelt and totally weird. And if I may say so, a little bit goth. And I love it. And it blew everything up and became mainstream. That gives me so much hope for our world.
I'm gonna admit something right now that I'm proud of. I have a vinyl record of Billie Eilish's album at home in my record player.
Yes, I need that.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. But so I'm right there with you on loving that from the last year. Mm-hmm. We did have some. I saw some people that were asking some questions. A friend I had spoken to, Ashley, huge fan, wanted to know if you were going to tour within Temptation when things start rolling again, because she was really disappointed that she didn't get to see it.
Me too. Yeah. That's definitely still the plan for sure. We're planning to do it next fall. So hopefully everything. I mean, we already built the stage production and it wasn't cheap, so. We definitely need to go do that tour.
We got a question here from Aaron, and wants to know what band helped you out the most when coming up through the ranks.
Mm. Ooh, we
Yeah.
definitely need some help. That's a good one. Um,
Aaron put her on the spot.
I'm thinking, corn is one of them for
Mhm.
sure. And part of it's about learning, like just learning tour. When we came out with our first album, and it was quickly a thing, like it happened quickly for us once Fallen came out, and the venue sizes grew and grew. We'd only played a handful of shows ever. We were still like becoming like, okay, let's figure out how to do this. We were still learning. It's such a different time. So you go on those tours and you kind of learn how things work from the people that you get to tour with. I remember touring with Korn a couple of times in our early days, and they were really kind to us. And I felt like having their support and endorsement, even from such a incredibly power and also incredibly heavy band with vastly a lot of men that like it. I mean, that's what Korn, and I love Korn. Like that is definitely something that I loved before we made it there. They were big to us. So to be like totally let in, like to the club by them, embraced by them, brought on tour, even like to be invited to be a part of a performance with them when they did their unplugged thing, that was really cool. And we've played too many shows to count with them since, but they definitely did something positive for us in the beginning.
Well, that's fantastic. We got a question here from Blythe, which by the way, just have to throw it out there. I'm a huge Korn fan as well. Blythe says, first off, you're lovely. Of course, we all know that. But then she also said, what's your favorite collaboration that you've worked with?
That's too hard to choose.
I know, it's like choosing your favorite kid, right?
It's like all your boyfriends are lined up and you have to tell them which one was the best. I mean, that's tough. I really, really am proud of the Body Count collaboration from earlier this year. It was such a surprise to have that particular thing like be an option. And I remember hearing about it before hearing the track and thinking, I want to hear that. I feel like in my head, like there's a solid chance that I'm not gonna be able to contribute well to this, just because it's very different. And then I heard the song and immediately connected with it and immediately had an idea. And against time constraints and everything else, somehow like it happened. And I just love it. I love being challenged. I love kind of having the opportunity to do something that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. And I just love what happened with that track. There's so many others though. The Wigaki band thing, I just got to do it. I got to sing a little bit in Japanese. All kinds of cool stuff, collaborations.
That is really cool. Okay, real quick before I let you go, I have a couple of quick questions for you. It is spooky season. I am a huge movie fan, specifically horror movies, so I want to know, Amy Lee, what is your favorite horror movie?
Halloween.
The original?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The original and the second one. And I like the first Rob Zombie remake or whatever, version, prequel, whatever you want to call it. The first Rob Zombie Halloween. I love that one too. So it's hard to say that that'll be my favorite. You gotta say the original. You have to. But the Halloween movies, really, that's my jam.
Okay, that I can relate to that. I love those. My favorite is personally Friday the 13th, that genre. But it's same basic vein there. They're kind of, one of them's a rip off the other. I won't say which one. In any event, other than that, I wanted to know one other question. What is a unique talent you have that we don't know about? Unique skill. You already told me you learned how to make sourdough bread, so
I know. And giving you all my secrets. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I got kind of good at Animal Crossing this year.
And I didn't know till I played Animal Crossing that you could be good at Animal Crossing. Let me tell you, I'm not.
Yeah, when I say good at it, I say I wasted a lot of time. I really did. Right at the top of things, I'm not proud of it.
I did the exact same thing. Yeah, I wasted a lot of time too. But let me tell you, my little village looks like an overgrown ivy patch with nothing makes sense.
Mine's abandoned. I have abandoned it. It's sad. It's just a place. I dare not return.
Just like all those Tamagotchis in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. I let it die.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a blast.
Me too.
All right, don't forget The Bitter Truth. Look for that coming out in 2020. Hopefully, we think. Use Your Voice or Use My Voice is out. Listen to it now. It is an amazing song if you haven't checked it out already. And also Head Count. If you need to register to vote, head over there. Forget how to register to vote. It's near and dear to Amy's heart. It's very important. You need to get out and vote. But thank you again, Amy from Evanescence. Amy Lee.
We rock. Thank you too. Hope to see you again.
Rock. All right, have a good one. Be safe.
You too. Bye.